today you get to hear from some longtime renters, Chrissy and John. They rented for over 2 decades, and they'd been in the same rental for the last 18 years. And suddenly they got a call from their landlord, the one we all dread. They were being kicked out of their home for major renovations, like 6 months. So what happened next? Well, that's their home buying story. You're going to hear tips about transitioning quickly when you are unexpectedly without a home. We're going to hear tips on buying in a high cost of living area, flexibility in your housing shopping, tips on down payments, appraisals, inspections, and the advantages they had working in a home buying system that they trusted with a real estate support team of true advocates, people that never panicked and actually assisted and helped them be patient so they could do it in the best way possible, even though they were freaking out because their world had been turned upside down and they were scrambling both mentally and physically. So let's hear how these lifetime renters found a way to end the rent cycle for good.
How to Buy a Home educates, protects, and connects first-time homebuyers to qualified vetted realtors in their area. Whether you're looking for DIY information or step-by-step guidance, How to Buy a Home is the #1 resource for first-time homebuyers.
Hey, everybody, I'm really excited. We've got another interview today. These are some fellow Californians buying expensive homes. I've really got to get into this. This is John and Chrissy, because you guys closed on a $665,000 home. Boy, I can't talk.
That was the original price.
Yeah.
And
What'd you guys end up paying?
$700,000.
Okay. All right.
Still good for this area, but yeah.
Yes, it is. I know people across the country are absolutely, pulling their hair out. But yeah, I know the area. So you're in San Luis Obispo area, beautiful part of California. I'm in the Southern California. I'm going to get into the details, but give me your biggest tip that you learned through this process as someone who bought a pretty darn expensive home.
Yeah. I just trust your system. That's my biggest thing is once we got on board with you guys, they took us by the hand and led us through everything. And yeah, that was the biggest thing I took away is these people know what they're doing and they're going to take care of us.
Yeah. And listening to the podcast, I probably listened to it for at least a couple of years before we actually got into this position to be able to do this. Listening to it, so I had a good preview of what to expect. And then once we got in touch with the unicorns, it was just amazing. It just was really smooth and easy.
Yeah.
That's so exciting to hear. And I'm really glad the system helped you guys. You guys, I've been talking to you for all of 2.5 minutes now. Seem like very nice, smart people. And I am so interested in this because I went back and looked. Chrissy reached out and said, John's been listening for a couple years. I'm starting to listen now. You guys reached out to me in June of 2025. And was I reading that right? You had $5,000 saved?
Yeah, but that's not exactly how we paid for the house.
Okay, so let's get into that. How did you afford a $700,000 home? What was your process? Understanding maybe not everybody can do it, but what did you guys do?
Well, basically, we had been living in a rental for about 18 years up until a little over a year ago. And basically, they let the house deteriorate so much that they basically kicked us out so they could renovate the house. And it took them 6 months to renovate it. So we moved to another rental. When we got kicked out of that place, my dad had spontaneously offered to give me an early inheritance to purchase a home. It happened right at the time we were getting kicked out of the old place. And I said, I don't want to rush into it. I need to find a roof for my family. So we did that. We signed a year lease at a place in town here. And then about 6 months in, I guess, it was about 6 months in, felt settled enough that I decided, confirmed with my dad that, is this offer still available? And he said, yes. So that's when I told Chrissy that I don't know if I told her beforehand, but I told her that I had been listening to your podcast for a while and that these are people that looks like we can trust and would probably guide us through the process. So that's when we reached out. And so that's the inheritance money, early inheritance money essentially is how we were able to afford a significant down payment. I think we ended up with $280K into it.
Yeah.
I think that our families right now are starting to understand, whether they're greatest generation or boomers, it's not the same.
Mm-mm.
And early inheritance can be a way that they can visit their grandkids in a home that's building a security for their kids' lives.
Yeah.
Well, this is really interesting. A lot of people come to me and say the unicorns really helped them with the financing and the planning. You guys already said the unicorns helped you out so much, but the finance and the planning kind of got taken care of. What were the parts that they helped you with that, you were so effusive with your praise about?
Well, it was not just the down payment, because even around here, we needed to have a budget for what we could pay monthly. So they were able to take that down payment and say, okay, well, here are your options. Here's what we can get you down to for your monthly. So that's where they helped us out a lot. Is down payment we were lucky on, but we still had to make the changes to stay to keep it up once we got in.
What was the difference between what you were renting for the end of those 18 years and then at the new place and your payment now? Is it a significant jump?
Yeah. Let's see. The place we stayed at for 18 years was below market rent, and we were paying $1,885 a month there at the end. I think it started at like $1,200 in 2007 or something like that. When we moved at the end of 23, we jumped from $1,885 to $2,800. So that was a big $900 jump, or more than about $1,000 jump. And now we're at $3,531 plus an HOA of $175, which was actually a pretty low HOA fee compared to what we've seen around the area. So so it's
$175 is cheap.
It's still it's extremely cheap. Yeah. And there's landscapers.
Yeah.
There's a big yard out here that the landscapers come every week to take care of.
Yeah.
And I was paying $70 a month to have landscaping done at my old house, and so $175 for trash and all the other HOA stuff seems perfectly reasonable. Yeah. Most of the other ones I saw were like $400, $450.
Yeah. That's the average.
Yeah.
Is your home attached? Is it a townhome? Is it a condo, or is it detached?
It's detached. They called it a planned urban development.
A PUD.
Yes, a PUD. I saw that acronym on the paperwork.
Yeah.
Yep.
But one of our big thing was not to have attached walls. Most of the stuff we were looking at had attached walls or was pricier, unattached. To get a 3-bed, 2-bath at this price was not a deal, but it was just right. I mean, it was the average price at the time.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 20 years with a lot of people that can't afford, they graduate college. I think they're going to buy a single family home, and it's $900,000. That PUD is a huge secret for everybody, because most of the time a planned urban development home, it'll be in a tract that would normally be considered a condo tract because it has common areas, but a lot of times they're detached. Yeah. And
that was a nice thing about this. The whole block is essentially part of this development, and they're kind of sectioned off into like 4 home sections, essentially. So you kind of have one driveway that comes in that's shared by 4. And you have your own little 3-car parking spots outside. And then the other portions of the development have similar setups. Yeah. So
very, very common in California, very Mediterranean, very Italian with that like single driveway into the 4 homes. Yeah. Been there, done that, seen it a million times.
Yeah.
So listening for 2 years, you took the big jump in rent. When you reached out to me, were you ready for there to be $1,000 increase from that new rent to your mortgage payment because you'd been listening? Or was that something like you were talking about, Chrissy, that you discussed with the mortgage brokers?
Yeah, it was discussing with the mortgage brokers. It was a huge jump when we moved the first time from the 18-year home. It was a huge jump, but we figured that out. So then when we got into the program and she's given us these different estimates, that's where we're able to say, okay, well, we made that happen. How can we make this happen? That was how we were like, let's find out what's going to happen.
Basically working with the lender going through all the different scenarios of what we can expect for an 800,000, 750, 700, 650, 600. And working with what my dad said we had to work with, we were able to kind of figure out, okay, well, for this monthly payment, we're going to have to shuffle these things around. One of the big things when we made the move from the 1885 to the 2800, the 1885 rent, it was an old house, had a wall heater, terrible insulation, single pane windows. When we moved to the $2,800, all of our utilities went down significantly.
Mm-hmm.
So more than half of that difference was made up in a reduction in utilities. And I basically just kind of reduced how much I was paying down on credit cards, kind of reduced a few other expenses that weren't essential, like got rid of that landscaping thing.
Yeah, things like that.
And so it turned out actually not being much of a crunch at all to make that first jump. Mm-hmm. I basically made a spreadsheet of all the different little scenarios. Again, like what are the major expenses, things that we can basically cut down. And basically, I think we came out to, we have one car payment. That's going to be done in February, March of next year. So that's $336 of this jump. We got additional gifts from Chrissy's mom and dad,
parents,
that are going to pay off credit card debt. So we're going to reduce interest payments and my credit card pay down. And we're basically right there at that extra $1,000 with those changes.
It's just taking the time to put it in front of you and crunch the numbers. You have no idea what you're capable of until you do that.
Well, and what you said was so interesting because you talked about, you asked your mortgage broker to give you all the monthly numbers for 800, 750, 700, 650 houses. Mm-hmm. And again, to you guys in the Midwest, sorry, it's California.
Freak out.
We don't have bugs and we don't have snow. So that's why we pay all that.
I've been to the East Coast. They have big bugs.
Big bugs. My wife and I watch TV all the time. And when we're watching she's like, look how gorgeous it is. I just go, bugs. Yeah. She goes, okay.
That's how you
by breaking it down like that, what happened is you turned everything into a monthly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then that starts to kind of shape your mind, for you looking at how are we going to afford this monthly, because you're already looking at things in that different mindset as opposed to just looking to a giant price tag.
Right.
You mentioned the car payment. I'm totally curious. Did you guys get into it? Did your car payment count against your DTI? Because I know sometimes, maybe your lender didn't even tell you. Sometimes if you're 10 months or less before you pay off, you don't have to pay it off. They just don't count it as a negative against your debt because it's on an installment plan and it's going away.
Yeah, they didn't actually mention whether they included that or not in our debt to income. But in our very first conversation, I told her what all our minimum payments were, including that car payment. It didn't seem like there was any issue at all of what we'd be qualifying for. The issue was when I saw the numbers of what the monthly is on an $800,000 house, I couldn't figure out how to make that number work.
Yeah.
But I could finally figure out how to make the 700 one work. But it didn't sound like with what we were putting down into the down payment that they had any problem with us qualifying us for at least $800,000. So.
Yeah, we had phenomenal credit. We were both at about 795,
780, 790.
So that
I think the numbers that they sent us that they used were 780 something, 780 something, and a 750 something. So
yeah, you guys crushed it there. Well, that's one of the great things about using the Unicore team, like you talked about, when you have advocates, real people working with you and for you, you'll find your top number, but then it becomes, okay, what are you guys comfortable with?
Right.
And that's so great that you guys were in the situation where you could discuss the monthly comfort level and then, being able to find this kind of unique, detached, planned urban development PUD property Because anything else you're going to be looking up in the eights, and you guys just couldn't afford that monthly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, one of the houses we looked at was a new build 800K, also in a PUD type thing. It's like a redeveloped large lot that they just put loads of houses on. And yeah, it was extremely nice. And I went and viewed it with Cheryl, our realtor. And afterwards, I was like, she asked us about it. And I was like, it's just a math problem. I'm trying to figure out. I just don't see it working.
Yeah. So when
you figured out the $1,000, but you couldn't figure out $1,700 or $1,800 for that extra $100K in loan.
Yeah, it was so $4,400, I think, was the monthly estimate on that one.
Yeah. So what drew you to this home? I mean, you guys were in one place for 18 years. I'm assuming that the uprooting to that temporary place really got the juices going for you.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Tell me about it.
So yeah, we lived in that house, 2-bedroom, 900 square feet, 1 bathroom, had our kids there, raised our kids there. And then they are teenagers and they're sharing this 10 by 10 room, and it's just not working anymore. So that was a big part of it. It was bittersweet leaving that home where so much happened. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's kind of a dump. Let's move on.
It was, but it was below market rent. I mean,
we were
around here,
perfectly happy with it while we were in that situation. But
yeah, and you put yourself in the situation where you were able to reduce debt, build savings, figure things out. And it's very interesting when you're at that situation with teenagers in a room. I talk to 22 and 23-year-olds, and they're like, I just want control. I want to be able to paint my walls my color, and I want something bigger than my patio. And so when I tell them it's going to cost them $700, $800 more a month, they're like, that's worth it to me. So figuring out this $1,000 more a month for you wasn't just for you. It was getting them out of a 10 by 10 shared room.
Yep, pretty much. When we moved into the what we call it, condo.
It was a condo. It had an attached wall. It was a 2-bed, 2 bath.
We gave the kids the master bedroom to split, and then we took the 10 by 10 room. So, and even that it's just not the same as having your own door to shut, and
they basically, if one person was in the room, the other one was out in the living area, and then when another one was in the room, the other one was out in the living area. But yeah, they're what, 13 and 16. So yeah, they're really happy to have their own rooms now. Yeah. We see them a lot less though.
At this time?
Had a good run.
Yeah.
I completely understand. Right now, my 15-year-old, it's morning at breakfast, and then sometimes she gets home at 9:00. I'm like, hi, how are you? So let's go through the process, because you were looking at 800. How did you guys, was it, you found a home at the value where you went, oh, okay, maybe we can do this at 700? Or did you guys have to mentally adjust and sort of go down in size and neighborhoods to fit the monthly payment that was comfortable?
So we ended up just seeing everything that was, we saw things that were $500,000, $25,000 that were basically what we had just moved out of. We looked at the brand new homes at $800,000. So we looked about 8 homes, I think, before we picked this one. And
this one went on the market and then off the market, and we wanted it. We really liked it when we saw it on the market. Yeah. And then when we inquired about it, they said, our realtor said, I think they're taking it back off the market. They're not sure if they want to sell. And then it came back on about 3 weeks later.
Yeah, after we had gone through, and we were looking at things we could afford, but weren't ideal, and 2 bedrooms, condos, things like that. And then we'd look at things we couldn't afford that had everything we wanted. So it was actually a really good process to go through and see, okay, what are our needs and what are our wants? Where can we compromise, and where are we going to stick to our guns?
Yeah.
And then during those 3 weeks when this was on and off, this was the only one that fit right there in the middle.
Exactly. Price, size, location, everything was, from the moment we saw it, it was like,
And that original price of $665 was intentionally low to basically attract buyers. It seemed like at the time things were starting to sit around on market a little bit longer. A lot of stuff we were looking at, so they knew what the ex-owner was a realtor. They had only lived here for about 2 years while they were waiting for a new build to be completed in the area. So they knew how to play the game, and so they intentionally made it lower, which led into.
So they did a lower, didn't get any bites, took it off, and then put it back on?
Well, I think that they took it off. I think the reason was that they wanted to finish up some other things. They wanted to finish painting or doing something like that. So it was during those 3 weeks us still looking over there to see. And as soon as it came back up on the market, we saw it, our realtor saw it, and got in there as soon as we could. They only had 2 open houses on a Friday and Saturday. On Monday, they accepted offers. And then on Tuesday, they came back to us and said, okay, what's your best offer? And that's where we kind of had to scramble with, oh no, do we go high? Do we go low? I don't want to lose. So that was probably the most stressful part of the whole thing, was give us a counter offer. And I'm like, oh man. But
okay, hold that thought.
Yep.
My wife just came home and the dog is like, I'm out of here.
Go for it.
Yeah, come on, Rocky. There you go. Go see mommy. Focus on me. Come on now.
You're still out of focus.
Find me.
Here I am. Come on.
You can do it.
Come on, computer. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Okay, that story is so much. That's the first 10 minutes of my first-time homebuyer consultation for anybody in Southern California. Here's what's going to happen. If a home is listed the right way, it's going to go on the market. There's going to be 2 open houses. They're going to ask for offers on Monday or Tuesday, and then there's going to be a multiple offer, counter offer bidding war that happens on Tuesday. That's what's happening. If you don't like that, then bring me cash and we'll buy a home a different way. Otherwise, that's the way it goes.
Yep.
So all right. So Chrissy, you were there with the stress.
Yeah.
How did it go? How did the negotiations go? Did you guys decide to go big? What did you do?
So that's where they had asked 665 and went back to dad, went back to parents, crunched some more numbers and said 700. And they came back, I think, on 2 days later and it had accepted it. But yeah, even the 700, we're going, oh, did we overpay what the other guy was? But if you look at anything else that we looked at or anything else in the area, 700 was actually a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it was about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're protected by the appraisal.
Yeah.
You know, if unless they're asking you to waive, sometimes in a crazy multiple offer situation, they'll ask people to waive the appraisal.
Right.
Then you know you're truly overpaying. One thing I need to make sure I explain to all first-time home buyers is if you're using a loan, an appraisal is part of the process. And if the appraisal comes in low, you should have a contingency that you can bail out.
Right.
You know, if the seller doesn't want to sell it for what a neutral third party says the home is worth, you shouldn't be obligated to have to buy it.
Yeah.
But you came in with that right information, understanding the seller was a realtor. Cheryl, your unicorn, explained to you, and you guys together went, and because of the work that you did looking at other homes, you're like, 660, if this is 665, I'll take it right now.
That's where we were at.
That's where
Exactly. You know, and everything we had seen, we did private viewing. I don't like my competitive side, so I didn't want it. I don't like, you know, everybody being at an open house, but the only way we could see this one was an open house. And we walked out the door, we went to the corner and said, okay, how do we do this? What's going on? How do we start? How do we get this?
Oh, you had the corner talk. I love those.
And then finally, it's like, let's go over to the cars because people are listening. But yeah.
I tell my sellers, if they're ever watching an open house, I tell them when they see people talking right on the front yard, I'm like, it's 2 things. great news. They're getting ready to write an offer, or they have no idea how to get to the next house and they're figuring out directions. So could be one or the other. So great.
Mm-hmm.
The work you did before then made you kind of see, where did you feel like you had to be flexible, compromise? You've said wants and needs a few times, which lets me know you're a good, smart buyer. What did you give up so you didn't have to pay $4,400 a month?
Basically space, outdoor space.
Yeah, a yard. We have a dog, and she stayed with my aunt while we were in the other place. So we were hoping for a yard, but that wasn't happening. But our dog's with us. Everything's fine. She's doing great. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, we have a small outdoor area that kind of wraps around the house. It's only a few feet wide, or 4 feet wide, or 5 feet wide. But
the little patio in the back.
It's an area the dog can go out. And then we have a large grass area out front that we can walk the dog around the block here.
Yeah.
You've got the greenbelt area in front of your
We're on the corner.
We're right on the corner spot. It's a large giant tree, large lawn that I don't have to mow.
Yeah.
It's just nice.
Great, beautiful view of the mountains. Yeah.
This is the condo life that people don't understand in the rest of the country. And I'm like, this is how I've been doing this for 20 years. My wife bought her first house in Southern California without me when we weren't dating.
Yeah.
And her brother was the one, excuse me, she wasn't going to do it. Her brother was the one. It was like, she was buying it was like $200,000.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was like, and there was another one for $210,000 that had the green belt out front. And her brother's like, it's $10,000 on your 30-year loan. That's like $18 a month. Like, get the one with the green belt.
Go for it.
Best decision she ever made.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
You've got that little space out front. And we do what we do here. So we get to live in the sunshine 24/7.
Right. And I was born and raised here. He came up here from San Diego in 1991.
Yep.
And I was never going to leave. So it was one of those things. It's just, this is where I live and we got to find something here. We didn't want the kids to switch schools or anything like that. So we ended up moving about a mile away from that old house to the condo. And now we're up 6 blocks away from the previous rental. So we are staying where we love.
So school districts, that had a big part to do with the geography.
Yeah. I did. Our oldest is in high school and didn't second year of high school. Didn't want to be like transferring schools or changing stuff. I grew up, never moved at all when I was in high school and stuff. And I know a lot of people that did switch around, and I just think it's a nice stability thing to try and stay in the same school, same group of friends through your high school years.
Yeah. Because we could have gotten something very similar, a house on a yard and everything. If we moved just 20 minutes inland, we could get something like that for $600,000. But it's a new school district. It wasn't where we called home. So.
And it's away from the ocean. I like being near the coast.
Yeah. We're right near the
It's so funny. I'm doing so much California translation in my head when you guys spoke, so I could speak to the rest of the audience.
Right.
Inland is like outside the loop for people in Dallas or Chicago, or Atlanta.
Yeah, it's a lot different. I grew up within 20 minutes of the ocean, and I've never lived further away from it. I've traveled the whole country, but I've never lived further than 20 minutes away from the ocean.
Yeah.
And you go 20 minutes inland here, you basically go over a little grade, and you get 115-degree summers up there. And
bugs and frost.
And bugs.
Heat and freezing.
Yeah.
And you just, on this side of it, it's just mellower. You get some cool nights, but it's just mellower being near the ocean than those extremes.
Well, it's such an interesting thing. I knew exactly what you were talking about your first rental, because I grew up next to those too. I took one bus to go to the beach when I was a kid, before I could ride my bike there, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what we did. It was the 70s gang. Late 70s. But yeah, those beach houses, man, single pane, utilities are off the charts. And I'm getting a quick look over your shoulder. How new is this home?
Built in 91. Definitely.
Hi, someone's waving behind you. Sorry, there's one of the teenagers.
16-year-old.
Nice. Got her own room.
I
just wanted to make it
all right.
Fantastic. Hey, 16-year-old, how do you like having your own room?
I like it. It's really nice. It's really fun. I get to do whatever I want, and I don't have anyone like crowding in my space.
Yep.
Isn't that lovely? Well, thank your parents and thank your grandparents.
I do.
And
I really do.
when you're 19 years old, listen to How to Buy a Home podcast, and we're going to start your saving journey.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old, and I'm like, you guys get to do whatever you want for your career, because I'm going to make sure you never rent. I'm not buying you a home, but you're just going to pay rent to me.
Yep.
Because this whole thing was started, you guys rented for 18 years. I rented for a dozen years. And what we all have right now is fantastic. But if we could go back at 20 years old and put 10 grand down on a little condo instead of living in the apartments we lived at for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And so great, not us, but our kids are gonna.
Yeah.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, we've been renting longer than 18 years. It was just that was the longest stay.
Yep.
Since, I guess I stayed in dorms in 91 when I moved up here for a few years, or 1 year, but then been renting since 92 essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one of the weird things we found out after we got the home was we started, telling our friends and everything. Turns out one of our mutual friends, she owned the house.
Yeah.
In 2005, same house. And we were like, okay.
That's weird.
That's weird.
We got some junk mail addressed to our
old friend.
Wait. So the realtor was the recent owner, but before that, your friend owned it?
Like 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
She only owned it for a few years, I think.
But she did what you're talking about, is she got in.
Yep.
She was able to get in at that age. And that's what blows my mind. It was like, wow, now I'm impressed that you guys did that.
Well, looking around here, where we live in California, we especially have the mental block. Because it's so expensive. Mm-hmm. But, now your kids can see this and, and what a great deal with your parents.
Yeah.
And again, the place looks gorgeous. 1991. How was the inspection process? Any hiccups there? Things that you learned?
We did. Let's see. So the previous owners gave us the previous inspection done. They just bought it 2 years ago. So they did a full inspection. So they provided that full inspection to us. We contacted the same people that did the inspection. So we did kind of an abbreviated inspection where we reviewed his previous inspection and had him come out and see what things had been addressed that he had noted earlier. And it was obvious most of the main things that was called out on the initial inspection had been addressed and taken care of. So we ended up only paying, I think, $200 or $300 for kind of this abbreviated inspection. I just spent a couple hours of him going over the previous one and looking at the place and seeing if everything was addressed correctly. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the minor things weren't, but all the major things were all completely taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was pretty nice. We didn't have to pay a full inspection thing.
Yeah.
And we figured it was a recent inspection. The previous inspection found termites. They had tented the place. We got a copy of the certificate. It's got a 5-year warranty on it. We were suggested, it's like at the 4.5-year mark, call these guys, have them re-inspect to make sure it's still good. There was, what else was there? Oh, roof issue. There was some roof things that they were talking about, and that's all been taken care of.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And the roof's only 7 years old. The issue was the large tree out front was touching the roof. And that tree.
Home inspections are crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, here's all the stuff that's broken right now. Here's all the things that could cause problems.
Yeah. which is good to know. And then some of the places we looked at had potential, but we weren't in a place where we wanted to deal with potential. We wanted to move into a place that was good to go. Maybe later we'll paint a wall. Maybe later we'll do this, but we don't have to set aside repairs just to get into the place. So that became one of our needs, was we need a place that's good to go.
Yeah, it was move-in ready, essentially, other than needing a lot of cleaning.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
But, I think that's the option part of things, that the big equation that a lot of people don't think about is, you having an influx of extra money that came in from the family.
Mm-hmm.
If you were major project DIY person, once you got that information, you could have turned to Cheryl and gone, all right, let's go look at some dumps, some 625 dumps.
Yeah.
Because we're going to take $50K of what mom and dad gave us, and we're going to redo stuff right away and move in a month later.
Right. And that's where we didn't want to be, but we got.
You were the exact opposite. And so you ran the numbers based on turnkey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is important.
Like I said,
people need to understand.
We lived in that dump rental place for a long time. It took them 6 months. It had termites. It needed a new roof. It needed new plumbing.
Foundation was cracked.
They spent 6 months renovating that place, and I think they started charging about $500 more a month for it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nice, large lot, but small house. And that was not a type of project I wanted to get into. Once we had, like I said, we had a wall heater for the whole house, one wall heater in that old house. When we moved to the condo with central heating, I was like, oh my God, this is phenomenal.
Wow. People live like this.
And like I said, our gas rates, our gas expense utilities went down significantly with that.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, these are some of the modern niceties we need to kind of like, make sure we kind of have.
What was the old house? 1920s?
Yeah, it was 1920s, 1930s house original.
Oh, you're in a 20s beach house.
That's what it felt like, because we were in just, a little beach house, little beach cottage.
I have back in the day when I was selling a beach home that was like that, down here in Seal Beach, the area where I grew up, it had a wall heater like that.
Yeah.
I made the sellers go out and buy 2 pairs of Uggs and 2 Seal Beach hoodies, and we put them on the floor next to the wall heater, and we said, that's your home heating.
Yep.
Right there. That's you're going to be a beach person. That's how it works.
Yeah, he had fans everywhere. So we wanted to get into the bathroom. We wanted to get it to the kids' room. It was a project just to get the house heated.
Yeah. So at the very beginning of this interview, you mentioned what the unicorn team did. Was there anything I missed about what the unicorn team did for you, or in general, that helped you with this process?
Cheryl was extremely patient. I think Chrissy and Cheryl did most of the home walkthroughs. But when we saw that one 800K new build, she came out a second time with just me. Just Chrissy works nights and I work Monday through Friday days. And the way our schedules worked out, that Chrissy was available to go see these things more often. And if there was something that she liked, I'd go check it out the second time. So Cheryl was really patient and cool with that. And then Kelly, the lender, just going through our different scenarios of like these different price points, this different price point. We went through whether it makes sense to do a rate buy down or not. And it didn't seem to make sense. And I think at one point looked at like what all first time home buyer, incentive programs or opportunities. And, like something I clicked on some page said, oh, you might be open to 25 possible programs, and asked Kelly about it. And like, those are all for people who basically don't have a good don't have a big down payment. You got, we're in the 30-ish% down payment range. And most of those programs aren't designed for us. So, but just going through all the different scenarios and options and things I've heard on your program, it's just, it just ended up just going smoothly and straightforward. And all the terminology is just a lot more familiar having listened to you for a long time. So
Yep. Yeah. I think the only time I really had a frozen moment was the curbside conversation where they want the earnest money. And so she's going, it can be 7, it can be 15. And at that point, luckily my mom was there. At that point, I was like, and my mom said, come on, let's go. That's what I want to help with. So she said that that's the kind of thing she wanted to help with. She couldn't put in as much as John's dad could, but that's a huge, huge thing to be able to just come up with that 15. So we ended up doing 15 for the earnest.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it earlier, but it surprised her.
Yeah.
No, and it always does come as a surprise, because what happens is, what was great was, like, in the initial conversations with Kelly, who's fabulous,
amazing team.
Gosh, she's one of the masterminds and co-creators of the Last Lease Ever program with me. Because she's been about the clients for years and years and years.
Yeah.
We're not afraid to say no. Ask us anything, because we know on the other side of things, we're going to present a bunch of other stuff that you're not going to find on Google.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? It's like, bring it on. Ask me everything.
Yeah.
Nope, you make too much money. Nope, you have too much of a down payment.
Yeah.
Nope, but thanks for asking. Nope, no more. But here's all these other things you can do.
Exactly. No shutdown. There was always, let's go over here.
Yeah, one of the
no shutdown.
One of the really cool things near the end there, when we were signing the final loan papers, is the day before. I think it was the day before. Kelly, we had a call with Kelly, and we reviewed basically what to expect, what all these all the sheets were, any questions on any of the numbers or anything there, and then the next day when the notary came over with the actual documents we had to sign. The notary was actually an she was in the real estate industry, so she was familiar. But Kelly had told us the notary probably won't recognize or know anything about the papers you're signing. So we're going to be here. If you have any questions, you can call us right away. And they basically were on standby while the notary was there. We were signing stuff off, and since the notary was already familiar with the paperwork, she would like open up the page that you sign. It's like, oh, this is the one about this stuff. And it's like, and I just had the review with Kelly. And so it just went super smooth and quick. There was just no questions. At the end, Kelly asked if everything went fine. I said, yep, no issues, no questions. And she said, all right, cool. We're heading out for the evening.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's so, the stories that come out about the signings are polar opposites, because either someone has a good team that walked them through it. And this is a California thing, by the way.
Yeah.
In Washington State and other places, they have a closing table, like and on the East Coast, they do it with lawyers. And you go into some big fancy conference room and everyone sits down. And I'm like, dude, in California, like some notary pulls up to your front door and you sit at your kitchen table and you ask the notary a question. They're like, I don't know. I just verify you're the person signing this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that higher level of service, that's why you either hear a horror story or no, it was totally easy. Yeah, it was a pain. It was an hour worth of stuff, but I did it the night before.
Yeah.
It's like an open book test by the time you get it.
Exactly.
So
yeah, it was just familiar and easy. It was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy that like myself, longtime renters, first time homeowner, here you are.
Few years.
So
Other people have done it, but finally done it.
Yeah.
Hey, you're in, you're there, and you're not inland. Good job, John.
Yeah. We didn't want anything like on the skirts. We didn't want any property at that point. It was just keep us where we are happy.
Yep. It's always the balance. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
We have completely flipped out people who live in the Midwest. But for all the listeners in New York and Chicago, and they'll be excited to know that even at these high price points, we can pull it off. Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, a huge thank you to Chrissy and John for sharing That amazing story. There were so many great tips and tactics in there. And if you're looking for more stories of how this unicorn system works, check the episode guide in the show notes. There's over 100 interviews in there. How to buy a home? We're not a sales pitch. It's a system you can trust. That's what Chrissy and John found out. And you can too. Give it a shot. Try it out. There's no obligation. And you're probably going to be very shocked when you discover all of your options, just like everyone in all those over 100 interviews. And if you like these stories and they're helping you on your journey to home ownership, please, it's out there for you for free. Help us out by giving us a review on Apple or Spotify. Those written reviews really help to get the word out. And the more community that we can create, the more people we can help, the more questions I'm going to be able to answer. And you'll notice here at How to Buy a Home, we don't run any commercials. I'm not for sale. We are built for you, the people. And we want to keep running this way. So help us out by reviewing and sharing the podcast with all of your renting friends, people who could use this information and encouragement, especially as we go into these crazy times of 2026. And if you're out there ready to get your plan, just go to howtobuyahome.com right now. There's a place where you can ask David. That question will get directly to me, not a robot. Or if you're ready to get a unicorn and get your support team that you can trust, like Chrissy and John, just ask me for a unicorn at howtobuyahome.com. Let's get your plan started. You can do this.
Looking for more DIY education or your own personal step-by-step guidance through the home buying journey? Since 2019, How to Buy a Home has been the #1 resource for first-time home buyers. So visit howtobuyahome.com to get started.